Hello, my sweet summer children. I'm back with some juice to get you through the long night. Winterfell, the heart of the north, the ruling seat of the king in the north, the ancestral seat of House Stark and the kings of winter will not fall. A lot of people keep talking about Winterfell being taken or destroyed by the Night King, and I don't think that's going to happen, and let me tell you why. Firstly, I don't believe this great battle for Dawn is going to happen in the north. A lot of the book evidence and show evidence and even filming news seems to point to the Riverlands, but that's not the only reason the Night King won't dare try Winterfell. We'll get more into Winterfell in a minute. Firstly, almost every war in Westeros was fought in the Riverlands. Well, not every war, but a lot of them are fought in the Riverlands. When Westeros wars, the Riverlands bleed. The Night King was created by the children of the forest. Legend says the first men battled the children of the forest, almost driving them to extinction, cutting down their beloved trees and slaughtering their foe in the field of battle. Riding their horses, clad and armed in bronze, the first men overwhelmed the children of the forest wherever they met them. For the weapons of the children were made of bone and wood and dragon glass. Finally, driven by desperation, the little people turned to sorcery and beseeched their greenseers to stem the tide of these invaders. And so they did, gathering in their hundreds, some say, on the Isle of Faces, and calling on their old gods with song and prayer and grisly sacrifice. 1,000 captive men were fed to the weirwood. One version of the tale goes, whilst another claims the children used the blood of their own young, and the old gods stirred, and giants awoke in the earth, and all of Westeros shook and trembled. This flooding of the neck or breaking of the arm of Dorne was nothing but an after effect. Surely raising the tide wouldn't stop the first men, but this is where the dark magic was used to create the Night King. The God's Eye is a lake in the Riverlands. Harrenhal actually sits on the God's Eye. The God's Eye has a grove of weirwood trees. It's packed with weirwood trees, ancient as ever, and it's sacred to the children of the forest, and it's protected by the green men. But anyway, the Night King was created there. In the show, the Night King is created in the north, right near the spot that Viserion died in. You can see this mountain that's shaped like an arrowhead in a few different shots, but it doesn't seem likely that he was created there, especially because the world of Ice and Fire points to the Isle of Faces, and his creation is confirmed to have happened on the Isle of Faces in the Game of Thrones Season 6 history and lore about the children of the forest. Also, the imagery, the art that the White Walkers make seem to point to the God's Eye and the Isle of Faces. Next, from Game of Theories, pointed out this symbolism to me, and he also did a pretty good video on them. If you want to check that out, I'll link it below. But basically, if you look at this still shot, you see a circle with heads on it. It's literally the Isle of Faces. The White Walkers can't communicate with words, but these symbols pop up frequently, pointing to the Isle of Faces. The spiral symbols all connect to the Isle of Faces. If you look at the history and lore video on the Children of the Forest from Season 6 that was released by HBO, you can actually see the spiral form in the white dots on the Isle of Faces. Those white dots are forming that spiral pattern that the White Walkers keep leaving. What you see in the middle of this spiral is the Isle of Faces. The Isle of Faces is where the children and the first men made their pact to push back the White Walkers. This is where the great battle has to take place. Also, production is underway, and it looks as though Riverrun will be returning in Season 8. Irish Thrones tweeted a while back that that location of Corbett, where the siege of Riverrun was filmed, is getting work done to it. It could mean other things like the return of Edmure or Jaime stopping in Riverrun to get Lannister troops from there and the twins, but I think this is where the battle will be fought. The battle will be fought in the Riverlands near the God's Eye on the Trident. The Night King will be trying to get to the Isle of Faces. It's also foreshadowed by a dream that Daenerys has that this battle will take place on the Trident. That night she dreamt that she was Rhaegar, riding to the Trident, but she was mounted on a dragon, not a horse. When she saw the usurper's rebel host across the river, they were armored all in ice, but she bathed them in dragon fire, and they melted away like dew and turned the Trident into a torrent. Some small part of her knew that she was dreaming, but another part exulted. This is how it was meant to be. The other was a nightmare, and I have only now awakened. I think the battle is going down above the God's Eye, like Aemon and Daemon during the Dance of Dragons. Dragon and Dragon Rider versus Dragon and Dragon Rider. So the White Walkers definitely have beef with the Children of the Forest. Well, at least the Night King does. They made him. They tied him up to a tree and shoved dragon glass into his heart and made him. And when they were done using him, they fought with the very people that he was created to kill to destroy him. Okay, so people have died for less, and he definitely has a motive. And he's left clues that point to the God's Eye and the Children of the Forest. So the Night King came over the wall at Eastwatch, which is far to the east coast of the continent of Westeros. The Night King is mounted on a dragon, yes, I know, and he can fly around the continent with ease, but he also has an army, a big one that he needs with him in order to fight. To get to the God's Eye or the Isle of Faces, he needs to go south. Before he gets to Winterfell, there's towns and castles he must pass to get south. Molestown, the Last Hearth, Carhold, the Dreadfort. The Dreadfort is a pretty awesome name for a castle, I'm just saying, but he has to pass these places. Maybe fight, like maybe not. After seeing how Viserion destroyed the wall, I think Viserion would have no problem destroying these castles. Something interesting though about the episode where Viserion destroys the wall is that after he destroyed the wall, the whites just passed through. Like, they didn't chase down the Night's Watchmen to add them to their army. There were human beings standing around running from them, and they didn't try to chase them down. They just kind of passed them uninterested, eyes forward. The same thing could very well happen going south. He could pass everything in the north and head straight for the God's Eye. In the books, the White Walkers can only move at night. During the day, they aren't out and about, but on the show, they are, so it wouldn't take them that long to get to Winterfell. So that's another reason I don't think they're going to attack Winterfell. If the Night King was to launch an assault on Winterfell, that has to happen Season 8, Episode 1. Because, I mean, he's not that far from Winterfell, so it has to happen immediately. Please do not forget that in one episode, a raven got from Eastwatch to Daenerys, and Daenerys got her dragons and herself beyond the wall in one episode. So Winterfell is not nearly that far. So Dan and Dave, the North remember. We'll never forget. So if Winterfell is going to be attacked, it's going to be attacked in episode 1. But I don't think that's happening, and if it is attacked, then it's not gonna fall. But let me further explain. Winterfell is magical. There is great magic within those walls and the crypts of Winterfell as well. Winterfell is also the last place that winter fell. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll link that video at the top so you're not confused. But Winterfell was built by Brandon the Builder, the same person that built the wall, Storm's End, and the High Tower of Oldtown with the help of the Children of the Forest. The oldest part of Winterfell is the crypts and the First Keep. Now, the crypts house all of the former kings of winter and the lords of Winterfell. This is what Ned says about the crypts. The lords of Winterfell watched them pass. Their likeness were carved into stones that sealed the tombs. In long rows they sat, blind eyes staring out into eternal darkness, while great stone direwolves curled around their feet. The shifting shadows made the stone figures seem to stir as the living passed by. By ancient custom, an iron longsword had been laid across the lap of each who had been Lord of Winterfell, to keep the vengeful spirits in their crypts. The oldest had long ago rusted away to nothing, leaving only a few red stains where the metal had rested on stone. Ned wondered if that meant those ghosts were free to roam the castle now. He hoped not. The first lords of Winterfell had been men hard as the land they ruled. In the books, there are so many references to the ghostly crypts and the dead kings. In our story, the dead have a way of not staying dead, so it's very possible that the kings of winter could return. George R.R. Martin loves Tolkien, so it's not far off to think that the kings of winter will come back from the dead, sort of like the dead men of Dunharrow, and Jon is Aragorn. I don't know what Jon would have to do to wake them. Only death can pay for life, so I'm not sure what's going to happen or how, but the possibility is there. And the Night King might not want to mess with the kings of winter that have the knowledge and ability to defeat him. They know what it takes. The North remembers. So he may stay clear of Winterfell. And if that's not enough reason to steer clear of Winterfell, then here is the second reason, and that is Bran Stark. Bran is the one that's supposed to beat the Night King. Benjen says this. He doesn't say Jon, and he doesn't say Dany. He says you will be waiting for him.
One way or another, he will find his way to the world of men. When he does, you will be there waiting for him.
Bran is like a super ninja greenseer now. So if Viserion is a white, like everyone keeps telling me, even though I think he's more than that, I think he is turned into a White Walker ice dragon. Like a white undead dragon should have a regular red fire or no fire at all. But if he's a white, theoretically Bran could easily take control of him. Like a battle of the minds type of thing. Bran battling the Night King to control Viserion. Even if he's not a white, Bran could still take his skin, but it would probably be harder. But either way, we would get Ice Brandon. A lot of people think that Bran will fly a dragon or warg one, which there are many flying references when it comes to Bran. He does technically already fly in Ravens, but Bran is in Winterfell, and theoretically he does have the power to take the dragon from the Night King with his mind. So the three-eyed raven is up in Winterfell, and Night King is not going there. If he does, then the Starks and their allies, including dragons, will likely retreat into the crypts and wait for the Night King to pass south. The crypts are bigger than Winterfell itself, so everyone should fit into the crypts. The crypts is the part of Winterfell that was built with the magic of the Children of the Forest, so it will probably keep the Night King out, much like the cave that Bran goes into with the three-eyed raven. Whenever the Night King gets to the Riverlands, I think he will meet Cersei's armies, which will be predominantly made up of the Golden Company. Cersei's army won't be coming to fight the Night King. They'll probably just be in the Riverlands just taking castles. And the Night King is just gonna fall on them. And they're just gonna see the Night King and start to fight him. There are a few military moves we've seen before that I can see working on the Night King. We've seen that the show likes to revisit military strategy. For example, Jaime takes Highgarden using the move that Robb did to him in the Whispering Woods. One military tactic that we saw work when you're highly outnumbered is when Stannis attacked the Wildlings. He took them by surprise and attacked their flanks while they were attacking Castle Black. And Stannis was outnumbered like 100 to 1. This move would theoretically work for Jon and company. As the Night King moves south, they hide in the crypts, let the Night King march south and engage in battle with the Golden Company, while they surprise attack the Night King's flanks with everything they have: dragons, Valyrian steel, dragonglass, wildfire, regular fire, everything. The Night King is not about to have outriders and tactics and battle plans.
It's not his men that worry me, it's his horses. I know what mountain knights can do to us. You and Stannis cut through us like piss through snow.
We're digging trenches all along our flanks. They won't be able to hit us the way that Stannis hit you in a double envelopment.
So he would be caught between two armies, basically like a hammer and an anvil type of situation. And the hammer and the anvil is the move that was used at the Battle of Redgrass Field during the Blackfire Rebellion. In my opinion, I just don't see Winterfell falling. It's too important to fall. If Winterfell falls, then what's the purpose of being ancient and magical? Like, does Winterfell have spells that protect its very foundation? Is the Night King's dragon the undefeatable weapon? What do you guys think? I think the Night King doesn't even attempt to launch an assault on Winterfell because his true beef is in the Riverlands, and he will be taken by surprise from behind and cut through like piss water. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone that supports me on Patreon. Please like this video if you like it. Please click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell and join the Sweet Summer family. Okay, my sweet summer children, have a good day.